Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here with a video about the recently added mouse and keyboard support as part of the Insiders program for Alpha Ring members. This will be coming soon to Beta Ring members and eventually the general public. Now, before people get upset and think that the mouse and keyboard support will ruin their favorite shooters, there are a lot of things to go through, a lot of small details, and there's also a lot of misinformation going around. So I will be kind of explaining everything, and I would recommend you watch the video through if you want a full understanding of how this is going to work and be implemented by developers. Currently, this is only supported in one game. That game is Warframe, which we will be playing in the video, but you can obviously imagine this will be added to more games in the future. Alongside this announcement, Xbox has also mentioned that they will be in a hardware partnership with the company Razer, and they'll be having further details about that in early November. Now, I will load up Warframe, I will start on a controller and then switch to a keyboard and mouse just like the Xbox Insider Hub recommends. I'll talk about that experience, but I think it's really important to first talk about how this feature will work and how it is being implemented. Now, the way this works is that Xbox is going to allow you to use your mouse and keyboard as an input device, but it is completely up to developers whether or not they recognize your mouse and keyboard as a useful input device in their game. Now, what this means is that you won't be able to just simply plug in your mouse and keyboard in a game like PUBG or Overwatch and have it automatically work unless the developer takes the steps to make it work. And if they make it work, they can take additional steps to make sure that mouse and keyboard players aren't playing against controller players. They will be able to recognize what input device you are using and make decisions based on that. Developers just wanted the option of having mouse and keyboard support. Xbox is giving them that option, and how they use it is completely up to them. I think that any developer with a shred of common sense will allow people to have the option of using a controller and only playing with people who are using a controller. They can also give the option of having a free-for-all where you can use any input device or one that's only for those who use mouse and keyboard. And I think a cross-platform game like Fortnite could be a great example to set. Another example of how this could be implemented would be in Destiny 2, where they could allow you to use your mouse and keyboard in things like the raid, where you're facing an actual AI, but they wouldn't allow you to matchmake against other controller players in the Crucible, which is a PvP experience. I may be focusing on this point a little bit too much, but I do think some people are overreacting. I don't think you'll see mouse and keyboard players start infiltrating all your competitive games overnight. And if you do have anger, you should be channeling that anger towards the developer of that game instead of Xbox, who just is now supporting mouse and keyboard. Think of it like a Kinect. Although a Kinect can be used for some games, the Kinect is useless in most games that don't support the Kinect, and this will work in a somewhat similar way. This feature is not taking your mouse and keyboard and tricking your console into thinking that you're using a controller. It's just taking your inputs and allowing developers to do with them what they want. Also, many people may not know this, but there are actually third-party hardware hacks of sort that allow you to use a mouse and keyboard on the console right now, and those people are probably playing against you in games like PUBG and Overwatch. And this new update, this new support will actually recognize those people using a mouse and keyboard, and if the developer chooses so, it will take those players and now match them against other players using similar input devices. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense. If you guys still have questions or I did a bad job explaining, let me know in the YouTube comments and I will try my best to clear it up. I'll also have some links in the description with further info you guys can read about. Let's get on with the actual video, and the video is of Warframe and of whether or not mouse and keyboard support works, how it works, and if it, feels good, looks good, all that jazz, how simple it is. And as you can see on the screen, I've used a little bit of controller. You simply just plug in your mouse and keyboard and you are ready to go. The game works as you would expect it to work if you were playing it on a PC, and that is pretty incredible if you ask me. In my testing, I didn't really encounter any issues or glitches or bugs, and I'm not that surprised because Warframe is a game that is well supported on PC, and I would expect it to work well with a mouse and keyboard, assuming that a lot of the code is being brought over from that version. During my time with Warframe, I was even able to kind of switch back and forth from the keyboard to my controller, like on the fly. I had basically both of them plugged in, and both of them were completely responsive, which is basically the experience I would expect if I was playing the game on Steam on my computer with a controller plugged in, but also obviously having access to my keyboard and mouse at the same time. Now, the experience wasn't 100% flawless, though. There were some times where the game was telling me to press LB to crouch, even though I was using my keyboard and mouse, which obviously doesn't have an LB button. Other times, though, it would tell me to press space to jump, or it would give me mouse inputs in order to shoot and aim, for example. So I would say it was like 90% accurate. I was quite impressed with my experience, how easy it was and how well it worked, and I would recommend testing it out if you get the chance and leaving your feedback if you have any. Now, in terms of my own personal opinions about mouse and keyboard support coming to the Xbox One console, I think overall it is a great thing happening for the console. Obviously, I have a lot of worries about how some developers may implement this, but if this is a feature that developers wanted, I think it's in Xbox's best interest to give them what they want. There's a lot of different reasons for this. It could be easier for a PC game to be ported to console if they don't have to take out mouse and keyboard support. It's one less thing on the checklist that company has to do. If you're keeping developers happy, they're more likely to want to develop for Xbox in the future. There are obviously also accessibility factors to take into account for some gamers who want to make the switch to mouse and keyboard. They now don't have to leave the Xbox platform to do so, and it generally just allows a little bit more freedom. And as long as all of these benefits are not coming at the cost of the core audience's happiness, I think it's a good thing. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope the video was informational, educational. If you learned something, like the video, maybe share it with a friend. A special thanks to the amazing people on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you guys next time. Peace.